Before we close, I want to tell you about a family that I know from my hometown, Philadelphia. A husband and wife named Thomas and Mary Faulkner. They raised 7 children. They were a religious family, united not only by their Catholic faith, but also by the hardscrabble lives that they led. Of 7 children, only 1 became famous, and not in a way that any parent or sibling would ever desire. No, the eminent one was Danny Faulkner, a Philadelphia police officer, and his fame came only upon his murder, December 9, 1981. Mumia Abu Jamal was tried and convicted for that murder 1 year later. And since then, it's become arguably the highest profile death penalty case in the nation. In the last 25 years, many Faulkner family members have passed without closure, and that's due to a delay initiated by death penalty opponents. Danny's mother, she attended trial every day in the early 80s, passed on soon thereafter. All Danny's siblings were alive at the time that he was killed, and today, only 2 are still with us. Meanwhile, the man who heaped tragedy upon this family is still alive, albeit behind bars. Abu Jamal today is 53 years old. His attorneys were back in federal court recently for yet another round in his endless cycle of appeals. His long entanglement in the courts, it's an embarrassment to our judicial system, but not because an innocent man sits on death row. No, this saga is testament to a system easily manipulated for interminable delay. Consider that since the death penalty was reinstated in Pennsylvania in 1978, only 3 have been put to death, and each of them asked for it. I no longer fault Abu Jamal's attorneys for the wait. I lay blame with those who give lip service to the death penalty but don't act to enforce it by streamlining the appellate process. You know, legislators who talk a good game during election season and then lose sight of what a quarter century of uncertainty does to crime victims. People like the family of Danny Faulkner. I recently spoke to his widow, Maureen, and she told me, quote, "This process is obscene in the way that it taints survivors' lives for so long. You can never move on. There's never any closure. Just endless rounds of hearings and motions made by new batches of crusading attorneys. This case has now even tainted the lives of Danny's nieces and nephews who were just little children when Jamal murdered Danny. And now some of them will be standing in the courtroom in place of their uncles who have lived their lives and have passed on. And Jamal, he's still alive on death row, writing books, mugging for the camera, giving commencement addresses. It's all so wrong. 25 years and counting. Indeed, it's an outrage." I'm Michael Smerconish in New York. Good night.